Yeah, oh boy. Well.
Oh, we're live. There you go. Show on stream. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
So fancy. Oh, then it turns off the other thing. So we are so welcome everybody to the Galaxy Geeks live stream. Apparently this is live. So thank you guys, whoever was watching.
Yes.
This is definitely a work in progress. This is we were testing this out earlier today for about 5 minutes to see if it actually works. So we're both really proud of ourselves that we're actually able to do this. So I guess we're just gonna we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. Is there a link copied in the group for people to join?
Sup, guys. Let me see. I think I would have to. Oh, let me kill the audio on this. I think what we would have to do is I could probably put this up.
Well,
I don't know. Let me see if I can copy and paste this though. I can't seem to copy and paste this link.
There's a share screen. Let's see. I'm loading the group page back up to see if there's anything there.
Well, here I put the join me live link, so it is broadcasting up.
It's there. It's there. Slamo Williams has just said sup.
Sup. Oh, we're getting watched. Wow, look at this. All right.
But it doesn't appear. It doesn't appear on the right-hand side here, which you would think intuitively it would.
Right. You would think it would just do that, but it's not really. So that seems to be a little bit of a thing.
I guess that's something we will work out in the future.
Yeah.
But hello, Slamo.
So I'm just gonna pop this open. My brother left these over. So.
Your brother?
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna give myself some Corona. So anyway, welcome everybody to the very first, I guess, the first time we're doing Galaxy Geeks podcast live like this, live stream in. Victor and I, Victor. So this is actually a pretty unique situation given what's going on. So of course, for people who may or may not know, obviously I'm in New Jersey here, United States. Victor is actually in Spain. So we've got the time difference here, but we are having some different experiences with our lockdowns. Whereas, you know, right now our lockdown is kind of like it's a suggested lockdown. You should be in Spain. It's like you leave the house, you're getting tackled and fined.
It all depends. I mean, in certain areas, we have the military out to help keep shit in check. Because there are too many people that think that what's going on doesn't apply to them. For example, you know, they're fining people everywhere from 600 euros, which is about like $650, all the way up to 600,000 euros. So,
wow.
It all depends on what you're doing, where you are, and all that good stuff. But I've seen people going around like riding bikes still. I've seen families in cars driving around where you're not supposed to have more than one person in a car at the same time. If you, there's a list of 7 things you can do. You can leave to get groceries. You can leave to get medicine. You can leave to see the doctor. You can leave to tend to elderly people. It says elderly people, young people, or people that are handicapped or can't fend for themselves, basically. You can leave to go to work, provided you have a permit.
Mm-hmm.
You could leave to go to the airport if you're a citizen of another country and need to get back home. And the 7th just slipped my mind. But, you know, it's mostly common sense shit, you know.
Or if you're going out to go buy comic books, that's the 7th thing.
Yeah, no, well, they had, or to go to a bar or whatnot, because people still seem to be, not heeding warnings. So,
right,
whatever.
Right, there you go. So yeah, I just thought it was because when we were talking about it before, I'm like, yeah, it hasn't gotten to that point yet here, although I feel like it's going to be getting there soon enough. But
statistically, we're about 2 weeks behind Italy, and the U.S. is about 2 weeks behind us. There was someone that I know from high school that started blabbing, just propaganda bullshit. I don't want to get into political stuff, but
right, yeah,
it's nonsense, because when you're being fed a certain thing and your opinion is just based on one source, it's kind of dumb. I mean, I've lived both in the U.S. and in Spain, so I know what both health systems are like. I know what the good and the bad is from both, and they both have good and bad. But to say, oh well, that's a free healthcare system. Look, no healthcare system is free. You're paying it via taxes. Okay, it's subsidized via taxes. First of all, second of all, every country that has a national healthcare system has private insurance. So if you want to pay for private insurance and a doctor, it's fucking on TV 24/7. Their shit's being advertised.
So Jay Jackson just said comic book stores rarely have more than 5 in at a time, so we'd be good. That's true.
I don't know, man. Fat Moose back in the day when they were in the old Cedar Knolls Mall, man, that place would get packed. I mean, we're talking about mid '80s, but hey, 30 fucking years ago.
Yeah, seriously. So, one of the things. So we're gonna distract ourselves talking here.
Yes.
Hopefully we're gonna distract everybody else here, because obviously,
Yes.
we could talk about what's going on, but we do want to get back to what we usually always talk about in this group and on this podcast, which is
Shasta.
yeah, exactly, Shasta. The things we love, the things we hate, mostly the things we love. But I mean, one of the topics you and I were actually talking about to get into it was we were just talking offline about how, with the movie theaters being shut down, that they should really just be releasing the stuff digitally, rather than trying to push it back. And I know some of the big tentpole event films, they want to really have that so they can make that impact and still make it an event, later on. However, there are a lot of movies like, that, I mean, really theatrically, are they really going to do that great at box office? I know you want the experience, but you know what? Just release the film, and if people want to see it, they'll just buy it. I mean, you might as well make it accessible, because once again, we have no idea how long this is going to last, how long they're going to keep things closed.
Yeah.
So we started talking about it, and then lo and behold,
like a day or two later,
the announcement came out that was it Time Warner? I forgot which.
Universal.
Universal said they were going to start putting some releases up. Like I know the Invisible Man had just come out, but they're already moving that up to a digital platform and some other releases. Yeah, Bloodshot,
which is Sony. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I think that's a great model moving forward. I mean, I get you're not going to see Black Widow, I guess, released like this, because they want that to be the big popcorn movie, the big event film. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have the option, though, right? Hey, go see it in the theater or stream it.
Yeah. Here's my thing with that. Let's say this lasts till August. How many movies are you going to jam pack into the theaters?
Well, there is that. I mean, how much more are you going to keep delaying?
Oh, the chat just came in.
Oh, look at that! It just started.
I don't know how many years later it just popped up.
It just started popping in.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. So let's say, first of all, let's say this is all done by August. Kind of an extreme case here. People are not going to go to the movies to the theaters for a while. Okay, people are not just going to jump in and say, hey, we can go out now. No, there's good. And I recorded an episode of another podcast that I do today, and I liken this to what happened after 9/11, where people weren't going to concerts, people weren't going to sporting events, people weren't traveling, until things shaked out. Things weren't happening. Yeah, they were happening, but everything was nowhere near being full, to capacity. That didn't take place until a year and something, 2 years, 3 years later, depending on what we're talking about. does it make sense for Marvel and Disney? And even now with Disney Plus, where people will just say, fuck it, I'll just wait till it's on the streaming service.
Well, I mean, that's, I think that's, especially with Disney. I mean, Rise of Skywalker is going to be on there soon enough. I mean, not, it was cool. Frozen 2 had come out, so it was nice that they moved that up and they released Frozen 2, which that was a really good move by them to do that.
Right.
I would have liked to have seen them now then do it with like Rise of Skywalker, which,
right.
is, being greedy. It would have been nice to have Rise of Skywalker already. But I mean, exactly to that point, like, why not just wait for it on the streaming service, especially as everybody creates their own streaming service for each brand, studio, like whatever, or if they do these exclusive licensing deals. I think the cost for, I think I saw something, I think for like, so if I wanted to go watch Invisible Man right now, I think it's like $19.99 or something, but you could say, all right, I mean, right now you don't want to invite a ton of people, but I mean, I got my family here, and if we all wanted to watch Invisible Man, say, even if it was just my wife and I, like, okay, it's $20. Like, we both just watched a movie that would individually have cost us like, $15, unless we go on special Tuesday night when it's like $5 each.
But yeah, that's, a few years back, I think it was Expendables 2 got leaked like 2 weeks early. And I remember at the time, they said that the rumor was that it was purposely leaked because they wanted to see how many people would actually download it before it came out. And they started experimenting with independent releases going straight to iTunes and things like that before they hit the theaters. So there would be, an independent release would be up on iTunes for like about a month, and then they would have a limited release in the theaters for about a week. And at the time, I remember they said that outside of, big things like Black Widow and, the James Bond movie and things like that, that this could be something that the different movie houses would do. I think it's smart that they do this. And I'm not just saying it for now, but moving forward, make it, a movie comes out, make it a rental. You want to stop people from pirating and downloading movies. So make it a rental while it's out in the theaters as well. It costs, let's say, like you're saying, $15 to see it in the movies, in the theaters. Okay. But it'll cost you $20 if you want to rent it and watch it at home. You have 24 hours to watch it, and that's it. They still make money off of that. Yeah,
because I mean, it's, you got to say, okay, well, once again, if I invite everybody over, that's a ticket. Like, each person's a ticket that didn't get spent. But then it's like, well, would you rather, it's almost like, well, maybe I wouldn't even have gone to see the movie, or this many people, it just gets into like, how much money can you actually make? But then people that just don't want to leave the house and go to a movie theater. And for some people, that experience just isn't worth it in that way. So, I mean, I just think that with the changing times, I mean, obviously with what's happening, I think it's going to force, there's no choice, right? I mean, it's all going to be, adapt or just don't come back. I think there's going to be a lot of new things created on how companies are going to do what they're doing, interacting with consumers, getting their product out, whatever that is, to be able for people to have it, like buy it, use it, like whatever. And I think that the theaters are they're going to be now forced to go this way. Everybody's been talking about it for years, and but they're now going to be forced to do it, because if nobody's going to the theater for the next like 30 to 60 days, what are they going to do? So anyway, and so we've got a couple comments here. So first of all, Slamo says, has anybody seen Bloodshot? I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
So I haven't heard any reviews from any of the folks I know. So I don't know anybody who's seen it yet, but I'll probably look that up. I mean, now it's on that service, so maybe I will give it a try. I got nothing else to do. So, and then Carrie is saying, they'll reach a larger audience, which
I agree.
Agreed. Especially I think if you're trying to like kick off a franchise or something like that, and maybe it's like one of these films that we just got to give it a try, and maybe not everybody knows about it, or I mean, this could be also be too, like, we keep talking about it, and we've talked about it so many times, but even like with the New Mutants, right? I mean, all the stuff that's gone on. We said when Disney bought it, we said just release New Mutants on Disney streaming. Like
Disney, yeah.
at this point, just put it on the service. Now,
Mhm.
once again, I mean, now's the perfect time. Like, put it out there, even if it's like, oh, for whatever they're going to put it on the service, or or charge people like this model of $20, let's say $19.99 to watch it for whatever, however many, however long. I mean, at this point, that movie's just got to be a complete loss and a wash. I mean, just put it on the streaming service at this point. Enough people will watch it.
Here's another interesting thing to bring up. It's a little different than what we're talking about, but Disney Plus officially launches here on Sunday, on the 24th. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
You guys.
No, did I say that right? It's 24th is next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, they're doing it on a Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday. Okay. They're premiering episode 1 of The Mandalorian on national TV on Friday.
So on national Spanish television, Friday, episode 1 of Mandalorian.
Of The Mandalorian, yes.
And then on Tuesday, Disney's going to drop, and then you'll be able to... Now, will all episodes be available, or are they going to drip them out like how they did it in the U.S.?
I think that they're going to release everything at once.
Okay.
Because if
that's
they...
weird.
if they release it one at a time like they did in the States, no one's going to watch. Why?
Right.
Because it's been out since December. I mean, most diehards that have wanted to see this have seen it already.
Yeah, I mean, go to any torrent site and you've been able to pull it down and stream it and watch it.
They want to cut down on piracy, but yet they're doing everything possible to kind of give people an incentive to continue to do it.
Yeah, that's weird. And it has to be, I guess, a licensing thing with world rights.
No,
in a market or territory. I mean, why? I guess I don't understand why they didn't release it just worldwide at first. I mean, and maybe it was a tech thing too. Maybe they just couldn't. The capacity.
I think it's more of a tech thing, but here there have been issues with Netflix had issues where they were taken to court by the biggest telecommunications company in the world is a Spanish company. And essentially they bought up a cable service, and as a result, they have their own cable service now. They sued Netflix so that they would have exclusive rights to Better Call Saul and House of Cards, which is a Netflix original,
right,
a year before it could be released on Netflix here in Spain. So, it's kind of weird. I mean, I could see them doing The Mandalorian on national TV to get people interested to pick Disney Plus up.
Right.
But outside of that, I don't see the purpose. I don't see the reason to do it.
Yeah. So a couple comments that have come in recently. First of all, going back to Bloodshot, Slamo said it was okay. So I guess he obviously saw it.
Okay.
Carrie is saying, for me, I only want to go to the big movies with reserved recliner seats. I hate those other theaters, but I'll shell out for a B-class movie I can watch on my couch. Absolutely. Yep. So exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And then Ken Smith, surprised those streaming services aren't dumping everything online, including all the summer releases. And and it may get to that point, actually. I mean, I think nobody knows what's going to happen. Everybody's waiting to see. But you know what? What are they going to do? Release everything in August? You get everything in August, September, and then then you have the holiday rush, and that all starts, and you already have those other big movies that are scheduled to come out in December. I mean, you might as well just put them out in the summer or whatever. You'll get them out. People are going to want to watch things, man. I mean, it's especially when you're stuck in the house and you're not going out. People will watch things like, they'll shell out $20 to watch something, a new movie like that they're waiting to see. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think of it. What Marvel movies are we getting this year? Excuse me. Black Widow, we're getting
New Mutants.
outside of New Mutants.
Well, I think the Eternals, right? Is that
The
this
Eternal.
year?
All right, so here we go to
Oh,
our
here we go
handy
again.
Google.
IMDb to the IMDb.
Yeah. Marvel releases 2020. The most exciting part of our show that usually gets edited out.
We
Us
usually edit
looking
this
things
out.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Us
yeah. You
looking
guys
things up online.
you usually edit this out. There's a lot of that. Wait, let's look online, and then it takes like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah. Black Widow, yeah, and in our tangents of,
Right.
Black Widow ends up being, us talking about some other nonsensical shit. Black Widow and the Eternals. The Eternals are slated to come out November 6th. So
that could stay. I mean, I don't think they'll move that. You think they're going to move that?
Would you think that they let's say the worst case scenario, like I said, let's say we aren't free and clear until August. They drop Black Widow. I'm assuming they want to do some sort of press for it.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming, let's say that they drop it middle to late September. Do you still
Black Widow.
drop? Yeah. Do you still drop the Eternals the first week of November, or do you push that back to Christmas?
You know what? I think you keep it, and the reason why is I think people like remember this is what we were saying too. Like we were like, oh my god, like Captain Marvel's like so close to like Infinity War and all that, and I think they leave it because I mean, especially with the Eternals being a new property that most mainstream moviegoers don't really know what that is.
Right.
It could be a really good lead-in to get momentum going, especially if they do something a little special, like and they show like a really kick-ass trailer before Black Widow to get people psyched up, or they do decide just to put a little Easter egg at the end just to like lead into that and get people excited, even though it's got nothing to do with Black Widow. It could be a good lead-in to even push more momentum to that film.
Well, you gotta figure too. The Eternals has the
possibility. We got the ensemble cast, right? The big star power.
So we have the possibility of it either being the next, and I was almost gonna say Galaxy of Geeks, but Guardians of the Galaxy, or their biggest flop, because you have the two Stark brothers, you have Angelina Jolie, who's arguably going to be the biggest name to enter. Well, I guess Robert Downey Jr. is probably the biggest, but he was kind of coming off of a rebound, whereas Angelina Jolie has kind of kept her popularity throughout. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, she didn't have her whole like bender period of a.
Exactly. She didn't have to redeem herself.
Right, exactly. To remind everybody how good of an actor they are. Like.
Yes. So
although I don't know that Dr. Dolittle movie though. Oh my god, that's a paycheck. That was a paycheck movie.
Well, Mark Striegel, who I record a podcast with every week. Here's my shameless plug. It's up on Patreon, folks. Patreon.com/Talking Metal. Anyway,
I should put that on the little text.
So he always talks about interviewing Sean Penn years ago, and he asked Sean Penn, "Why did you do this movie?" And Sean Penn basically said, "Well, some movies you do because you love the art, and some movies you do because you have to heat the pool." So
that's true. I think that's one of the ones to heat the pool. I think
Dr. Dolittle is a pool heater.
Yeah.
So let's see. Disney releases for this year. Mulan was supposed to come out in March. Black Widow.
Mulan was March.
Yep.
Wow. So when is that getting pushed?
No idea. It doesn't even. Well, it says postponed. Black Widow originally May 1st. Artemis Fowl supposed to be May 29th.
Jeez, I forgot about Artemis Fowl.
Soul supposed to be June 19th. Jungle Cruise July 24th.
Ooh, that's a big movie.
Yeah.
Here's a good idea. Maybe double feature them. Hedge their bets. That's You can go back
Hmm.
to the old school,
Yeah,
what they used to do back in the day. Back in the day.
I've seen double
But
features
yeah,
back
drive-in
at the
theater
old.
double feature. Yeah.
Well, I've seen actually now that you bring that up, I've seen it at the drive-in and the old AMC theaters in Rockaway used to do that. It used to be Saturday night double features where they'd
Yeah.
premiere a movie and then you'd be able to either catch something that's a few weeks old, or I've even done it where it was something. What the hell's that called? Where the audience, it was like an audience screener where afterwards
Right.
they ask your opinion on the movie.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, the double feature would be cool.
Ken, you guys are old. Yeah. Older than you, buddy.
Oh, I was gonna say, all right, so it's that Ken. It's not Ken Smith. I was about to say Ken Smith graduated high school a year before I did. So, but year before we did.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, here we go. Good point. Hey guys, there's currently a filming hiatus, though. They might really need to space things out later to make up for the delay. This is from Abrielle. Make up for the delay in future films.
good point.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of suspended productions from theatrical and TV, which I mean that's going to impact everything too. So you're right. There could be a hole, and you know what? Great point. And
New
I'm probably
Mutants on the silver screen. Damn it!
wait, and I'm probably older than the both of you.
Who's saying that?
Abrielle.
Oh, okay.
No,
Maybe.
you're 20. She's 29. What are you talking about? That's
Yeah. What? Whether she is or not, she looks younger than the two of us. So,
yeah,
age is in the mind.
that's true. much better looking than us, I'll tell you that.
I would have to agree. Um. So yeah, that's a great point too. So, with that being the case, what do you think rebounds quicker, TV or movies?
Hmm. That is a really great question because I mean movies take a long time to make. I mean, not that shows don't, but shows generally. I mean, the way they've been making shows is definitely putting much more production value in them than they used to. But I think TV may have the quicker, just because I think they could maybe churn stuff out, and I don't know what they have laying around. So I think TV would definitely rebound a little bit quicker than the film industry, just because films by nature just they're longer to produce and then edit and all that because there's just so much more involved. Especially your bigger movies. I mean, when you get into like the effects and all that stuff. I mean, if you're talking about like a smaller indie, then yeah, maybe a little bit quicker. But I mean, I think TV will rebound faster.
The other thing too with TV is they can play around with
Right.
series that maybe have been shot in the UK or in other countries and
Well,
import
yeah.
them.
And that's Netflix has done a great job with doing that, like
Right.
saying, "Oh, this was over here," and they're able to like either do a really good dub or it's a great show. People will
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I think they've done a really good job with that. And also too, they may do things like how maybe you get like a few episodes of the show they started already, and they make you wait. They'll just get you excited. I don't know. I guess maybe it depends how many shows they have done. Like if they're able to get like I'm just making this up. So just say
Right.
Stranger Things, like they're in production. Just say they had already maybe the first 4 episodes in the tank done, and they edit those and they release that as sort of like a mini season, and then end it when it ends, and then the next half comes when it comes.
What
Maybe
if
they do something like that with some of these series.
Yeah, and maybe ABC can do similar to what I just said about The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
or HBO, since it's all since technically the Fox stations are theirs now, right? Time Warner
I
bought them.
believe. Well, the Fox. Oh yeah, that's right. Because not everything was some of the stuff Disney acquired all Fox stuff, but I think the news stuff.
There's no, but the actual stations, I think were bought by Time Warner. Um, or they've split off. I mean, I don't remember, but anyway, what I'm getting at is they could potentially also take like something from HBO, let's say, and show it on regular TV. Or another thing that they can do too is shit, CBS. Look at all the Star Trek stuff that they've been releasing on CBS Access.
Well, yeah.
They could give that a nationwide audience instead. You've got how many? You've got 3 seasons. You can go with that. ABC, or excuse me, Disney ABC has Hulu content as well that they can release on ABC instead. Maybe a show like The Orville, which was supposed to premiere later this year, which has already supposedly been wrapped up and recording, instead
Mhm.
of waiting for it to be released on Hulu, now all of a sudden jumps to ABC to
Right.
fill up a time spot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's all possible. I mean, honestly, I feel like at this point, like, if anybody, if the networks and the services and the studios were going to experiment with anything, now is definitely the
Now's the
time to
time.
do it. I mean, because with people being like sequestered globally,
Right.
with nothing to do other than, I mean, not everybody wants to read the books,
Right.
but I mean, now's the time to experiment with the different platforms and things and see what people like and, want to do with them, see what they respond to. So I think it's a good, I think again, at this point, you really can't lose. I mean, especially if you already have the content made, it's like, it was either going to
Right.
sit around or, we're going to do this, or we're going to put it here, or we're going to, I mean, whatever.
Could you imagine that this makes Disney want to acquire the Marvel series from Netflix so that they have additional Marvel content?
Yeah, or just get that stupid agreement, but they can't produce anything right now, so
Right. Right.
there's a lockdown on production, so they wouldn't even be able to rush to get anything to market or to
Yeah.
stream. So
Yeah. Regarding your brother's comment, so your brother says people
uh,
are going to want to go so bad there will be a ticket boom. I agree with that,
I
but
agree with that too,
I
especially
think
like your first big movie that
mhm,
like, just say they push out Black Widow now, whether they leave it there or they push it out more, which I think they're going to. I mean, May, right?
yeah, supposedly,
It's and it's kind of like on a cusp right now, so that
yeah.
could get pushed. But
Well,
I think that's gonna wind up being like a $1 billion movie all of a sudden.
here's my thing. I think it'll be a ticket boom, but I think people are gonna want to make sure that it's gonna be safe to come out and play first. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, everybody needs the confidence that
right?
getting stuck inside of a movie theater is going to be okay, and
Yeah,
nobody's. So you're going to need to 100%, like, yeah, it's okay to go to a theater.
yeah,
Um, oh, so Ken Smith, Amazon shows too, The Boys, Jack Ryan, etc. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, The Boys season 2, I think is all in the can. So that I think that's ready to go. Oh, and don't forget about sports and wrestling. Ticket sales will be huge. Yeah. Ken Ventry, Slamo. I think it all depends on how it affects people with work because they may not have the money. Also, very true.
Yeah,
Yes, I mean,
valid point.
valid point. Lots of people, losing work right now, being out of work. So, every penny counts. So people are definitely taking it easy on the spending. So, yeah, people may not be ready to go take the whole family out to a movie
Right.
and becomes like a $100 night of tickets and popcorn and the whole shebang. So I mean, I think too, this is where the theaters could look like heroes when this stuff happens again, knowing that not everybody's gonna have the funds to run right out. And I think it's across the board for entertainment, live events. So you talk about wrestling and sports and everything, even concerts, like knowing that not everybody's going to have like that extra money now to
Hmm.
plunk down because any kind of reserve funds that they had is going to go into some survival mode in a sense.
Right.
So people may not have that extra money to spend. So anything they can do when things do come back online, it'll be good. I mean, listen,
Right.
just get people out, get people confident, get people spending money again, but don't, you know, gouge the hell out of everybody. So it probably would be wise to do some reduced stuff to bring people back in for a bit until like everybody's back on their feet.
Right, I agree. Yeah, how important is it as well? Some of the things that we've been seeing, that we've been talking about. For example, you sent me the link to the Code Orange show. You have Matt Hafey from Trivium doing a show in his basement, playing, you know, the first two Trivium albums in their entirety. Neil Young, Willie Nelson, people like this who are, you touched upon it before, where people are going to be leveraging this downtime to try to work on different things. When you see bands or celebrities do this stuff, how much of that is going to help people go out and spend their money in the future on, you know, these people? Because if you're seeing that some of this stuff is going on, I think they're going to continue to remain connected with people, whereas others, where others will not. You know, I think it's a time, as you're saying, for people to venture out. And Ken brought up wrestling. I mean, it's kind of a unique thing where owning your own building, you're able to continuously put on shows.
Right.
That's not the case with a lot of these, you know, concerts or movies or theater or whatnot, because you have things like, state government or even the national government coming in and saying, nope, shut it all down. You know,
Right.
if it's more than X amount of people, then, you know, you can't put on the show.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how this all works out. And maybe, you know, I know years ago, a company like AEG, they ran like the Forum out in LA. MSG actually took it over afterwards, but AEG is a concert promoter. Could they take one of their venues and kind of supersede everything going on around them and say, no, look, we're going to be filming shows, we're going to be charging, as you're saying, $20 a pop to see this band play live. You'll be able to see Tool live, let's say,
Right.
or, you know, some big band like that. They're going to come into stadium, put on the full show, and it's just going to be for, you know, people that
for
are
everybody
watching
watching.
online.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like like we all watched the Dropkick Murphy show the other night, live streaming, on, and it was great. St. Patrick's Day, and it was awesome. They did that, and of course they tied in charitable, being able to do some charitable donation stuff in there as well, which was great because they're always all about that. But it was all, I don't know the studio where they were from. I don't know if that's a set place that I don't know. I don't know the mechanics of that, but it was awesome that they did that. And it was like a 2-hour thing. It was on YouTube. It was great. And I think by the end of the night, there was like 170,000 something people like watching that. And it was awesome to like sit for 2 hours and watch that and, have some drinks and just listen to these guys. It was great. I loved it. And so I think, and obviously not every band has the means or resources to do that. But to your point, maybe these places can step up and do that, obviously in a safe environment where people can't get sick, and just trying to do it as safe as they can to be able to bring some kind of like live entertainment like right into your house like that. I've been watching too. So Code Orange I loved. I thought that was great. I mean, I don't know how many people watched. I didn't watch it till like a few days later on that, but it was an awesome thing that they did, was turning that their record release party into basically a 45-minute or whatever. It was another hour set they did. I think it was the whole record. So that was great. And I've been watching too. There's a band that I got. Well, you know them, and I got into them because of you. Is the Haunt. And and on Instagram account, like every day, the main dude in the band who plays guitar, he writes everything every day. He's on Instagram now. He's in the studio. He's playing tracks. He's almost like writing songs with people and being like, that's hey, cool. What does everybody think of this riff or this? Like, you guys dig this? Because I like this. Or, oh, that's a really good point. Maybe I will try it this way. So he's like full on like interacting with people, like writing music for the next record and working on songs. But it's because he's like, well, I was supposed to be out on tour. that's done, so I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
do this. And so every day he's been going live and doing things like that, and I've been watching, and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
So and I don't know how many more musicians are out there doing things like that, or bands that want to, I just think it's a great way to be able to like keep engaged with your audience,
It's the name
keep
of the
stay,
game now. Yeah.
and it provides some kind of getaway from everything else that's going on in the world. So I think that's cool, and then stuff like that maybe, but then translate to other things, like whether it's actors, or anything to do with the world, the geekiness that we're into, of like,
Right.
talking about things, sharing things from across the board. But I think there was another band or something that was trying to do some stuff recently. Yeah, and so Ken's going on here about the wrestling. Ken Ventry, so he's like, dude, the empty arena shows have been brutal. And wrestling, and I agree, wrestling's an industry that needs fans. Rock shows are awesome to live stream, but with WWE, bad acting just sticks out more than the empty arenas. AEW did a good thing by doing their show in front of the roster. It helped with the atmosphere. And that's one of the things my brother and I were talking about too. Like, these guys are in the building, like throw them in the stands, because I thought,
Right.
why not? I mean, there's nobody in there. It could be fun. I mean, they're already experimenting with things. I mean, the only thing I shouldn't say the only thing, but I will. Not saying I like the shows WWE has been doing recently, but I do appreciate the effort that they're trying to do to keep a show going and keep people entertained. But they're not tweaking the scripts. Like, they're still sticking to the scripts, and it's like, you got to know like where it's going. And I'm not like these guys are all the greatest actors in the world, man. I mean, they're wrestlers, and they do the same show and they do their thing, but they can deviate away. They can switch it up somehow. That's just my thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched the AEW show today and was not really impressed. So I know that
I haven't watched it yet. I have not
Yeah.
watched it yet. Although
Yeah.
I saw Matt Hardy come out at the end. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it made no sense for them to do a double debut, but then later on, when I was listening to another podcast, they said, well, the reason they did that was because people were going to be freaking out that he wasn't the leader of the Black Order or Dark Order, excuse me. And so when he came out at the end, it was a big deal, blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, this is like fucking old WCW, where they didn't know what to do with everyone. So let's just debut everyone at once. Last week we debuted Lance Archer, and he's going to be taking on Cody Rhodes. Wait, but Cody Rhodes is doing something else this week, and someone else. And it's like the fucking booking is done by a bunch of kids that, that the reason that they weren't running books somewhere else is because, you have a feud one week with somebody, and then they feud with somebody else the next week, and then 6 weeks down the road, they're back wrestling them again, and it's like, oh, well, this is, to settle the score. Well, no, they haven't seen each other in 6 weeks. Makes no sense, but whatever.
Let's see. Oh, so to the other point, I heard the actor who plays Olaf in Frozen is reading books every night for kids, which that's awesome. That's cool. And
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, which I think would be great. So whether musicians and actors doing all that, it suck, don't bother.
Is your brother talking about AEW?
Yeah, he must be. So it suck, don't bother. So I'm gonna assume he went on talking about AEW, not Olaf reading to kids.
The women's match was brutal, and Steve Hoker brought it up in the group. He said, "Well, how come Jim Ross always talks about things being bowling shoe ugly, and he didn't say that about that match or the following match, which was Jurassic Express and the Butcher and the Blade, just two like real shit matches, and people are praising this stuff. So many missed spots, it's stupid. So I don't know, I don't get it. Teach their own.
Teach their own. So so what have you watched recently? What, because you and I we haven't gotten caught up on some of the shows.
Watch The Outsider.
Watch that too. We could talk about that a little bit.
Watched. Got my wife to watch Star Trek Discovery, excuse me. And once that was done, we started watching Picard. and then one, we're like 4 episodes behind Picard now. And the reason for that is I told her, I said, look, I know 3 years ago we tried. I put the Expanse on for you. You didn't care for it. I said, if you think this is good, you need to watch the Expanse because it's a lot better than this. She's like, well, let's try. She watched 2 episodes and was hooked. She watched all 4 seasons over the course of like 2.5 weeks. So
so this is gonna be my time. I'm gonna get into the Expanse again.
well, here's the thing. I got to see seasons 1 through 4 again. And you're gonna crucify me, and people in the group are gonna crucify me for this. As much as I like The Mandalorian, The Expanse is better than The Mandalorian.
All right. Well, I can't comment yet because I have not watched all The Expanse.
Okay, and the reason why I will say that it is better is because it's more of an adult show. Not that The Mandalorian is bad, but I want the series to focus on The Mandalorian and not Baby Yoda. That's my 2 cents. But I still love it. But The Expanse is better. Why? Because you're mixing, without even realizing, you're mixing race relations. You're mixing religious issues. You're mixing action. You're mixing, excuse me. A lot of like suspenseful stuff. You're mixing a lot of aspects of different genres together, all within a sci-fi fantasy show. To me, it's probably the best series, the best space-based series since Battlestar Galactica. And I have no issue saying that at all.
I know you have no issue saying that at all. I mean, I agree with. So just a few comments came in. So Ariel, Expanse is awesome. She totally agrees with you. Slamo said he hasn't seen the show yet, and then Ariel said, but they are for different audiences, and I do agree with that. I mean, the tone is like couldn't be any more different. And plus, you are talking about mixing genres, and like Mandalorian has clearly put all their chips in on like the Western, lone gunslinger comes into town, old school samurai film stuff.
Except for that A-Team episode.
Except for the A-Team episode. Very much the A-Team.
But the Expanse, you have people getting it on. You have people dropping F-bombs, things like that where...
Yeah. Well, you're never going to get that
on Disney.
In Disney. I mean, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I once again, I have not seen... I started watching The Expanse. I will go back. I'm going to, now that I've got more time, and I could start watching it again because
each season gets better, and that's one thing that I know when I talked to your wife a while ago when we did, I think it was Killjoy's wrap up.
Oh, the Killjoys wrap up, yeah.
Yeah, she was saying how it wasn't like there were episodes where they didn't move the story along as much as she wanted, and that it kind of got boring. But I think being able to now see all 4 seasons together, as opposed to seeing them trickle out one week after another, it makes for a better show that way. Because the tail end of every episode always leaves you with something that's going to happen at the beginning of the following episode. There's a lot of oh shit moments that you weren't expecting with different things that take place. And again, there are things that bring up things that are coming up now, but they're set 300 years in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend it.
I'll definitely, I will give it another try. I mean, it is a cool looking show, and I did like some of the stuff. For me, I get distracted, and if I can't get like locked into a show right away, I have a hard time like getting into the rhythm of it and then going to like next episode. I agree with your previous statement though. The Battlestar Galactica it's different from Battlestar Galactica, but I think tone wise, it's very similar to that.
Right.
Exactly. And Battlestar Galactica got really. It was almost like with Battlestar Galactica, what I really loved is that yes, it was sci-fi and set in space, but that was so like.
Yeah, it was the focus. It was such a small piece,
Yeah.
the the whole false prophet thing with Gaius Baltar and
Oh,
just like
so
different
good.
things, there were so many different things that were weaved into it, much like this, that without you realizing it, you're like, fuck, they just actually did some like really wicked like social commentary on like race relations and things, but instead of it being, black white issues, it's Earth versus Mars versus Belters.
Right.
So and it's funny. It applies a lot to what goes on today. Without people really realizing that. And I will say this: that season 4, after Amazon picked it up, oh my God, they really like kicked it up a notch with the
Jeff Bezos.
CGI and everything.
Jeff Bezos money, man. It's his
Yeah,
favorite
well,
show.
that's it. Apparently, that's what he said. That it's one of his favorite books, and it was his favorite show. So,
So hopefully that means he's gonna plow a ton of money into the Lord of Rings show when that ever gets
yeah,
produced.
hopefully.
Yeah.
So,
Which I was watching a video last night on YouTube about that, and I guess that's supposed to take place during the second age, which is kind of neat because the video I was watching was like, because this is what I watch late at night, is the title of the video was, "What was Sauron doing during the second age?" So of course I watched it as this guy did like a great video on like what was Sauron
yeah,
doing during the second age, and then I watched the whole thing, and then that was when they at the end he was like, and second age is supposed to be what they're going to be focusing on in the new Amazon series, so hopefully we'll see a lot of this stuff. And I was like, damn man, I got even more excited. I hope they do.
yeah. No,
There's
I
some
agree with
badass
you.
stuff going on.
Yeah,
So Abrielle is saying political and philosophical issues in The Expanse not for kids. On the other hand, Mandalorian is a family show, no deep thoughts, very straightforward. Yeah,
yep.
agreed.
Nothing wrong with either.
I just happen to be like the ultimate fanboy. That's
What do you think about the reboot of Clone Wars?
so far loving it.
Yeah.
You're not. I
No,
can
I
tell.
am. I am.
I can't.
No,
I know. I like it. I think it's like feels like they just picked right up where things were. I mean, in the first few episodes, I think were like, I remember seeing the wireframes for those when,
mhm.
or the animatics when the show got canceled. So because Dave Filoni had that stuff written out already, and they had already started the first stage of animation, the animatron, whatever, the wireframe stuff. And so those Bad Batch episodes were sort of already done already. Well, in that sense. So it was kind of cool seeing them like now like fully like completed and fleshed out. But I like the first what was it 4 episodes already? I think I had the 4th one. I like where it's going. I got a feeling it's gonna definitely get kicked up now because this is it, and this should lead straight into
Episode 3.
Episode 3, where they're saying it should really lead straight into that. And I loved already starting to see like Anakin kind of
freaking losing his shit and freaking the fuck out.
Hey, cut that dude's arm right off, and then just like totally stabbed him. Like, oh my god, it's great.
Yeah. We're gonna see the turn as it should have been, kind of laid out and told, as opposed to episode 1, 2, and 3 were kind of jumping through years, and we've said it before. The animated series have really helped fill in the gaps, whether it's Clone Wars, whether it's Rebels.
Yeah,
it's really helped the flow with a lot of different things. And shit, we're seeing, for all those people that were saying, oh, I don't watch the animated series, they don't add anything. Yeah, okay. So now we're seeing the fucking dark saber at the end of the Mandalorian.
Spoiler.
How many people were sitting there saying, "Wow, that is a cool lightsaber. Where did that come from?" Yeah, it was in fucking Rebels, asshole, and it was in Clone Wars. So
yeah, you throw a chair through the screen. Yeah, but I mean it's definitely like when something like that comes into the live action stuff and you don't know really like what is this, or And what will probably be cool is what they'll probably do then in the next season is they'll probably do a little backstory type of thing to kind of help fill in the gaps for people. That's what I'm thinking they'll do. Because we have to find out, how did he get it? Like, because the last person to have it was Satine's sister.
No, it wasn't actually her. She gave it to.
Oh no, that's it, Sabine. But then Sabine gave it to her because she was the last. Wasn't she the last?
No, she
Death
gave
Watch?
it. We looked this up one time.
Oh, you're right. We did look this up. All right, hold on.
It wasn't given to her sister. She gave it to another guy who was it's after the whole Death Watch thing. She
Here
gave
we go.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm on. Okay. All right, so here we go. Here's the timeline of the Black Saber. It was created by Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian ever inducted into Jedi Order prior to 1019 BBY. Weapon was kept in the Jedi Temple after Vizsla's passing, but members of House Vizsla stole the saber in a conflict with the Jedi during the fall of the Old Republic. The dark saber was passed down generation to generation by the ancestors of Vizsla, who held on to the weapon even after the pacifist ideals of the new Mandalorians replaced by the warrior ways of the Mandalore. By 21 BBY, the darksaber was in possession of Pre Vizsla, the leader of Death Watch and House Vizsla during the Clone Wars. He used the blade during his conflicts with the new Mandalorians, including the successful takeover of Mandalore. After the coup, Darth Maul killed Vizsla, took the darksaber as his own, and became the leader of the Death Watch. Maul's old master, Darth Sidious, soon arrived in Mandalore to confront him and his apprentice, and Maul used the darksaber against him. Maul was bested in combat, taken prisoner, and held. Maul was soon rescued from the Spire, behest of... hold on, where's it go? Oh. After he's freed, the location at Death Watch camp was given back to the darksaber. So after being free, Maul returned to Zanbar, their location at Death Watch, and was given back the darksaber, which had been recovered by the Sundari Royal Palace, the site of Maul's duel with Sidious. Shortly after his return, Zanbar was attacked by Separatist droid army led by Grievous. Maul made use of the darksaber against the cyborg general. Maul continued to use the darksaber in several subsequent battles. His second battle of Dathomir. During the Age of the Empire, the Mandalorian's weapons expert and rebel Sabine Wren retrieved the darksaber from the Night Sister lair on Dathomir. At the urging of Fen Rao and her fellow Spectre, Sabine agreed to undergo training with the darksaber under the tutelage of Kanan Jarrus. Later, Sabine brought the darksaber with her and her rebel companions during a mission to seek her family's support. Sabine became the rightful wielder of the darksaber after defeating Viceroy Gar Saxon in a duel. Okay, here we go. After rescuing her father from Imperial custody and destroying the super weapon she built, Sabine gave the darksaber over to Bo-Katan Kryze, who she deemed to be the rightful person of the Mandalores. By 9 ABY, the weapon fell in the hands of Moff Gideon, leader of an Imperial remnant on a battle Navarro. So Bo-Katan was the last one to have it before Moff Gideon, or at least right now.
Mm-hmm.
So how it went from her, but he seems to have played a role with, going after Mandalore in between. Oh, Ariel, see you later. We are staying safe and healthy. Oh, she just started watching Travelers on Netflix. Rachel's watching that too.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's where the darksaber is now with Moff Gideon, but how it got to his possession is a whole other thing.
Do we get the dreaded flashbacks to?
We probably will. I mean, we're getting flashbacks before of his parents getting killed. So there obviously was a battle on Mandalore when all that happened, and the Mandalorians were the ones that saved him, and that's how he became one of them. But I guess somewhere in there, there was a battle, and he somehow got the saber from Bo-Katan. So I guess we'll see. They're gonna have to go into it. It's obviously a gaping hole in canon, so they're gonna fill it. If you're gonna introduce something like that, then you have to show how he got possession of the darksaber.
Yeah, because the other extreme of what I was mentioning is you're gonna have the Simpsons comic book guy, sitting there going, "But we need to know where did how did he get his hands on the saber?
Where did the dark saber come from?
Where did it come from?" Yes.
So,
Um,
so I
yeah.
hope everybody enjoyed the history of the dark saber.
There you go. Um, what else? I've also been watching. I know this isn't geeky or anything. Been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. Been watching Avenue 5, which is set up in
Oh yeah,
space.
I wanted this.
So
I didn't start watching that yet. Is it good?
it's all right.
Okay.
It's kind of been growing on me as the season has gone by. Because
Hmm.
again, a lot of star power, a lot of different people from different HBO series and different kind of name
Yeah,
players,
and
and
Hugh Laurie is great. I mean, he's such a good
yeah,
actor.
yeah, and then you have the people behind it are the people that did Veep. So I mean, I absolutely loved Veep. So that's kind of like when
Yeah,
the Orville premiered, where it was like, wait a second, this isn't what I was expecting. I from the makers of Family Guy, I wasn't
right.
expecting a Star Trek series, which is essentially what we got.
Yeah,
And Avenue 5 is, I mean, it's definitely not Veep. It doesn't suck, but it's there's a lot of like different like kind of fucked up scenarios that they're in
sure.
that kind of become humors.
Right, right.
So,
All right. Yeah, I mean, let's see. What have I been watching? One is waving hi, Uncle Chris. He thinks you can see him. Hey, Owen. uh,
well,
um, what I've been watching recently. So yes, we are both watching The Outsider. I
mhm.
finished. We watched season 2 of Altered Carbon,
Okay, I have to
which
see that.
was cool. I still haven't gone back to finish The Witcher yet, which I know you finished.
Yeah,
So I guess I should finish it because I don't know. It was I was definitely hitting a roadblock with that one. I mean, I just need to change the way I think about it.
yeah.
Uh,
I think with The Witcher, the biggest problem is how they marketed the series, where they were marketing it to, well, if you're missing out on Game of Thrones, you need to watch The Witcher, and it's like, no. It
it's a hard
really,
no.
yeah, it really is a different animal. Okay, there's swords, there's mythical beasts, there's things like that, which you have in Game of Thrones. Um, but that's where it ends.
Yeah,
Outside of that, it's completely different. And I would honestly say, had they have said, an adult version of Xena, let's say, or of like a Sam Raimi type show from the '90s, if it's an updated version of that with it a little, with more of an adult side to things, because there's more skin to it, there's more um there's obviously stuff on Netflix you can do that you couldn't do
right.
on channel 11 or channel 9 type of a deal. So you add those factors and it's more geared towards that. I would say it's more of a, it's not Game of Thrones. It's going to be very difficult for another show to come along and instantly be compared and fit that niche. So
Yeah,
um it's kind of an uphill battle, if you say something like that and say, oh well, this is the new
it's.
whatever.
I mean, it's easy to try to like ride in the coattails of a show that was so successful like that,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, The Witcher is nothing even close to that. I
Right.
gotta, I gotta start it over, or at
It's
least picking up
cool.
where I left. Yeah,
It's cool. It's entertaining. Is it something that I would absolutely say that it was? I'm honestly shocked that it's the biggest series ever on Netflix. Apparently, the biggest debut for a new series.
for a new
Um,
series.
yeah.
Really bigger than
Uh,
Stranger Things? Well, I guess Stranger Things was more of a slow burn type of a thing. Like
well, and also you
people
have,
had to start watching it, and then it got like big.
but Witcher was a big video game property.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So you're gonna get a lot of people that are fans of the video game that come in, and it was also a book as well, or a series of books.
Hmm.
So you're gonna get all these other fans that are gonna come into that. Whereas with Stranger Things, you don't have that established,
Right.
fan base coming in. It's Jack Ryan, for example, that you just brought up before. That's that already has a home, that already has a built-in audience that's going to check that out
Right.
via the books, via the other movies that have already come out. So that's different to starting up something like another series that's facing similar type terrorism, counterterrorism type deal, where it's that type of a show. You're going up against again, an established audience where it's. I always go back to music analogies. It's like someone like Doyle from the Misfits, um, advertising himself as Doyle from the Misfits, as opposed to someone new coming out and saying, hey, we're a new horror punk band. You've already got that built in. You've got the
Featuring
audience
Doyle of
built
the
in.
Misfits.
Featuring Doyle from the Misfits, or anyone else that was associated with them. You could say that about Dr. Chud, or you could say that about
Oh, Michael
Michael
Graves.
Graves. They're always going to have that association. You're always going to have people that love that Resurrection lineup that that are going to be they're just going to check the stuff out, even if it's just on streaming. And that's obviously going to have more of a it's going to open more doors than somebody that's just starting out. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I'll tell you another couple shows I watched. Series was that October. Oh, what the hell was it? It was just so
October Tide, was it?
It was on Netflix, right? So it was the October, and it had.
I didn't see it.
Don't waste your time.
Well, I started to see your comments, and I'm like,
it was. You know what? I started it. I was like, oh, all right, this is kind of cool. Like, I kind of like this premise, and it just got really bad, like really bad. So yeah, don't waste your time. I watched the first episode of Lock and Key. I haven't gotten beyond that.
Okay.
Oh, here's my sister and my brother are both talking about Outsider, and this is from. So my sister, Outsider is dreadfully boring after a couple of episodes. This is Mom. The Outsider started out great, and then it got boring. I was very disappointed with the ending. So, listen, we'll talk about this for a little bit. There's gonna be some spoilers here, so if no one wants to be spoiled by
flash it on the screen. Spoiler.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on right now. I'm gonna put it on right now. Spoiler for Outsider. Let's see. Well, let me see if I can add the little. I'm gonna try to see if I can add a little thing.
Graphic.
Yeah. Since we're playing around with this.
Learning on the fly, folks.
That's right. That is right.
I could do the Billy Milano from SOD's Live at Budokan, back to our old college radio days. There you go.
All right. Spoilers for Outsider. Here we go. So I actually feel a little bad because I was walking around because I saw the first couple episodes, and I was like, oh my God, this show's great. I was telling everybody how awesome it was, and you guys got to get on The Outsider. This is great. And then the third episode was like, it was still kind of like, all right, like this is cool. Man, by that fourth episode, it was like, all right, the fourth episode wasn't great, but episode 4s are sometimes like the weird one, and then 5 came out, and it was like
a continuation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And then then after that, it was like this entire show is conversations in a car, like holy crap, man! It was
comedians in cars getting coffee.
Yeah, it's just like long, drawn out conversations on stuff, and I'm like, all right, listen. We love True Detective. In season 2 aside, but True Detective's like, but
it has It has it shares a lot of similarities, and it was funny
Right.
because as you're talking, it's the first thing that came to mind because it
Right,
was
but what makes it different is that True Detective, as like the burn that Slow Detective, the True Detective is a slow burn. Like it keeps you in, like it keeps you like
not season 2.
not season two aside. Season
Season
two
2,
stinks.
yeah, season
Yeah.
2, we talked about how there was that one scene at the at the end of the episode where the guys with the crow mask, and
Oh
we're like, it's taking off.
yeah.
And you spend the rest of the season just waiting for that to happen. The Outsider's similar to that, where it's like, all right, it's getting good, it's getting good, okay, we're waiting again.
Yeah. And then you get to the end, and I'm like, oh my God, like here we go. We're gonna be with this big end. And like, okay, they had the good shootout stuff. And I'm like, all
Hmm.
right, this is like you're gonna see everybody go. And I'm like, of course, the boyfriend's going, like, because they had their whole like goodbye moment, like, or I love you moment before. I'm like, so he's dead. And then the lawyer bit it. I was like, everybody's getting wasted here.
Right.
But then like, okay, they're in the cave, and you're like this confrontation, and it's like, okay, I don't know. It was just was, and I did not read the book. I did not, and like
Right.
I know. Listen, I'm a big Stephen King fan. I haven't read this book. There's a bunch of books I haven't read recently, and
What's wrong with
you
you?
know, I know I'm a jerk, but it's just one of those things where Stephen King, he does that though sometimes. I mean, he just he writes books that are like, and then they go on forever, and you like expect this big end, and it's sort of so I don't know if the end of the show mirrors
Reflects
the
the
end of the
book.
book.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak to that. I'm sure
Hmm.
there's a video on YouTube that breaks down the differences. I love watching those. But man, that ending blew. I don't know. We quickly talked about this, and I think you
Yeah.
feel the same way.
My wife hates when I pause stuff. We're watching TV and I'll pause it to make a comment or whatever. And she's like, just let's fucking watch it. Stop doing this. And when they kill Kuko and whatnot,
Oh,
she
cuckoo.
says she says, pause it. I pause it. She's like, there's 20 minutes left in the show. She's like, what the fuck just happened? She's like, and usually she's good about all this shit. There's a lot of series that she likes that I can't stand and whatnot, because I feel that they're letdowns, like they're kind of, just like puff pieces, or just like your usual like shit to sell ads or whatever. But when she said that, I was like, fuck this. She's right. This kind of blows. There's 20 minutes to go. What are they going to do for 20 minutes? Let's get our stories straight.
It was all
You're going to
epilogue. It's
say,
like epilogue.
it was like, are you kidding me?
Oh
It
yeah,
should,
it was.
it should have been 9 episodes then. They should have
And
just extended one of the episodes and that's it. They kill him, boom, done.
I said this. I remember I wrote you. I go, they could have totally done this in 6 episodes or 5
Yeah.
episodes. Like I mean, for real. And then you get the little like the extra scene at the end, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, she's scratched, so this thing's dead, but like it's not like what are you trying to say right now with that end? Like we saw this thing get killed, he smashed its head in, but she's got that scratch. So what does that mean? Like
Mhm.
he's gonna regenerate his head? Like I don't get it. Or is it just showing that she was scratched and that it could have been there? Like she was gonna be next?
Right.
Because she did start to he did don't okay, so he did start to change at the end, like you
Mhm.
start seeing his face going at,
Yeah.
and at one point I said to my wife Rachel, I go, i think I think maybe he was going to change, and I got a sworn maybe I saw like her face sort of in the faces or something, but then
Mhm.
so I mean, I guess are they trying to say then that she was scratched and he was going to change into her next? I don't know, or am I just getting way too like I'm looking into this way too hard, and she
Yeah,
just had a scratch? And
I
because
mean,
other than that, I'm like, whoa, then what does this even matter? Like, why are you showing this to us? Like, if this thing's head is smashed in, like, what does this
yeah,
mean?
I don't know, but
Is she gonna turn into an El Cuco?
could be.
Fired up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was kind of weird because after you saw the whole thing, it was like, all right, he's done. What else could happen? And it was funny because
Right.
we were watching it, watching the series, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, oh, the main character, Mads, what's his last name?
Oh,
Mendelsohn.
from Rogue One, yeah, Nate
Yeah,
Mendelsohn, Nate
yeah,
Mendelsohn, is that it?
yeah. Mads. Okay.
Or Mads Mendelsohn?
So I'm thinking, I'm like, she's got to turn into him. Like, it's gonna be something where he volunteers to sacrifice himself. He's
Right.
gonna become El Cuco, and he's gonna go in a cave or whatever. He's gonna die. He's gonna seclude himself. He's gonna do this, because the whole Terry Maitland thing, blah blah blah. There were so many like theories that I kept coming up and throwing at my wife, and it was nowhere near it. It was like,
Yeah.
what? It's just this. It's.
My
It's funny. It was the Tarantino or Kevin Smith version of a Stephen King book because it was all conversations.
it's all witty. It was just very, I just wasn't, like, we like True Detective, right? And you go, oh my
Right.
God, True Detective is slow, and there's so many conversations, but there's something with when I'm talking about season 1 and 3 right now, because
Yes.
season 2 was just so with those seasons, you could say, all right, yes, they move slow, the dialogue, but I don't know, man. There's that underlining tension and mystery,
Mhm.
and yeah, this show had that, like, an even more from a horror aspect, with the
Right.
whole, especially the first 2 episodes, which, man, if the show had kept up on that, like, level of and I don't know, is it just because Jason Bateman is so good and he directed those 2 episodes as well, and
Could be.
but he was the executive producer on this whole show, so it's, I don't know, it just didn't have that same feeling, and as much as um True Detective has a lot of those drawn out, slow episodes like that. I don't know. It just didn't have that same level of anticipation. And then
Right.
you're like, okay, finally, we get to the cave. Like, we're gonna, is are we gonna have an epic battle? Like, and it was
Right.
basically another conversation,
Right. Yeah.
and then a rock.
Yeah. I don't know. Just kind of weird. And your mother says that she thinks she saw the face too. I mean, my only take on that is that he started transforming in reverse order from the people that he had been, and so he transformed from Jason Bateman or Terry Maitland. He went back and became the black guy, and then from the black guy, he went back to the Puerto Rican lady from New York.
Oh, right.
So I guess maybe the transition between the black guy to the female maybe made it look like it was Holly Gibbons
Yeah.
or Holly Gibbony or whatever her name
Gibney, Holly
was.
Gibney. Yeah. Maybe. But then otherwise, then it's like, I guess then maybe you could say is that he scratched her and he would have been her next, because if he's dead, then what's the point of showing us the scratch, in the sense of,
Yeah.
so it's either one way. It's either she got scratched and she would have been next, or she got scratched and she's going to turn into him, or there's another one of these things around, or there was another one in the cave with him. I don't know.
I mean, unless because she went to check her neck as well. Um, unless it's all right, I got scratched, but we kill that fucker, so it's not going to be me anymore.
Right. Yeah. Well, whatever. It's over.
Yeah, it's over and done with.
Over and done with. I could change the graphic now.
There you go.
What else are we going to spoil for everybody?
We can spoil episode 9, which was released digitally ahead of time, which I'm already reading all types of crazy comments from people about it. It's funny because from a musical standpoint, I've seen comments from musicians saying how how they don't get it that people don't like their newer material or whatnot, but then at the same time, I saw a musician that I interviewed once saying everything after Empire was rubbish. I hate this, blah 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 blah.
Well, they're right.
Like,
I'm just kidding.
but I'm like, all right, well then, good for you, but then don't kind of, you know, get upset when people say the same thing about your music, because it's kind of the same thing.
Right.
You lost me after this album. Oh, but that, my next album was so much better. Well, for those of us that enjoy as what it's being termed now, the second, no, I saw it today. Fuck, I'm messing it up. The second sequel? No.
Of what?
Star Wars. They had a name to the last three movies.
Oh, the prequel trilogy?
Now there's the prequel trilogy, the
Oh,
original
you're talking about
trilogy.
these? Oh, these?
Yeah,
These
these.
newest ones?
Yeah,
The
episode
Skywalker
7, 8,
saga?
9. No, there was another name that that was attached to it. I saw it on the Xbox today.
Disney trilogy?
Yeah, drawing a blank now.
Well, now I'm going to have to go to the Google machine. Star Wars trilogy. New. Sequel trilogy.
Sequel trilogy. Ah, there it is. I don't remember that.
Sequel trilogy.
Ken Smith called it identity theft of Skywalker. Okay.
Identity theft of Skywalker. That's funny.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I really like the movie. I mean, yeah, it has flaws, but I feel like every Star Wars film has its thing. I mean, it definitely a mishmash of stuff. I mean, if anything's more apparent, it's the thing that that you can clearly tell Disney did not have everything written out or planned for these trilogies. So, that's why you have three very different movies that sort of don't really, they connect, but not really. And things change and the rules change and the games change. And it's kind of crazy. I'll tell you though, but since this film has come out, a lot of like interesting things. So the novelizations come out, and there's been some cool stuff to come out of that with some like deeper explanations for things. You've got the original Colin Trevorrow script that was leaked, one of those drafts, which that was an interesting read to see, like sort of the highlights for that and sort of what they took from that and then put into this. So there's been a lot of revelations that have come out since the film came out in December, which really doesn't seem that long ago, right? But it's like so much has happened with this movie since then. I mean, I also too like recently saw about like what Lucas's whole original plan was for this trilogy as well, and how Leia being a Jedi and all that, and there's a lot of really cool stuff. I just came up now, the identity theft of Skywalker. The thing that I wish they would have put some of the stuff though that they are putting in a novelization, because it would have helped with a lot of these people, with everybody, myself included, being like, what is this? Like confirming that Palpatine had a clone body. That's something that it just would have been nice to somehow like put it into a box of saying this is clearly a clone body, and this is, so that's kind of confirmed recently. The Lando's daughter is I forgot her name, her character name in the Jonna or something like that. I think it's something like that. That's confirmed that's her daughter. That's his daughter. They confirmed that in the book. So that's a thing that it would have just been nice to had that kind of. The other bit was that apparently, because who was operating all those Star Destroyers? Well, apparently it was the children of all those Sith worshippers that were just automatically all over this planet. They were the ones running the Star Destroyers and flying them and all that. So that's like all these little things like they put into the book, and it's fine, but like, and there's so many, there's a lot more. Like, I think the biggest question is who did Palpatine actually sleep with to actually create a kid? I think that's another, That's a big mystery because he didn't just create. So that's a thing that they could fill in too, and they probably will. It'll either be a series or they'll do it as a comic book or something where they're going to fill in this time of like, Palpatine had a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and was the kid force sensitive? Like, did he have, or was he not? Like, how did that whole thing happen? How did he have a kid? And then the kid's hiding from him, running from him. Like, I don't know. I'm sure that's going to be an entire interesting storyline to fill. Oh, and then the other thing is like, how did Maz Kanata get Luke's lightsaber? That question was answered in the visual book on the visual of Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
And apparently, so it's kind of lame. It's basically like some worker found it in the Bespin like garbage thing or whatever, but saw it and picked up the lightsaber, and that he eventually exchanged hands and eventually got to Maz Kanata.
Oh, so that's like finding a Picasso, like during when somebody left it behind in their house. I just
Right.
picked it up and I took it to the Salvation Army, and somehow, this $1
Yeah.
million thing ended up in whoever's hands.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's trying to see if I can find the actual. It makes no sense. It was in the visual dictionary. I'm just looking to see the latest. Anyway, but it's not that much different from that. So it's kind of like, okay, that's not that exciting, And here it is. So Chris Marshwinski's chiming in now. He's on West Coast time, so he's saying another leak from the book was that Rey is actually the daughter of a failed Palpatine clone. There is another one right there.
So there was an army of Palpatines. This is like they were treading on Rick and Morty territory.
But this honestly, a lot of that kind of the stuff though comes out of the expanded universe stuff. Like Palpatine was like all about clones and making clones of himself, making clones of Luke, and you start getting into the Luke and the like all the different clones of Luke. A lot of batshit crazy stuff. I don't know. I still like the movie. I liked Rise of Skywalker. It just, it would have been nice if they had actually sat down and actually wrote an entire storyline out and not felt like they were making things up or trying to retrofit things, because they did the things in Last Jedi, which I still like Last Jedi, other than the casino scene. I still like Last Jedi. But it's like they set that stuff up there, and then they were like, "Oh no, we got to change it all and make it because the fans didn't like it, and so we're gonna change stuff." And
their biggest issue was they should have signed J.J. Abrams up for 3 movies. They should have just said, "All right, look, you want to do this, you're doing all 3."
Or you do. I mean, Lucas was the executive producer on all 3 films, so even though they had different directors, he was still in charge of like the story, Plus, he already had this shit written. He had it written out already, and there were changes here and there he made, but he had it written out. Like, yes, I agree though, but JJ should have stayed involved, and he should have had this shit written out. And of course, you're going to do some rewrites and change things here and there, but it just would have felt like a complete trilogy, like in that way, and it doesn't feel so different from like. Okay, Empire is way different from New Hope and way different from Jedi, but it's like
there's continuity.
You need that. It kind of like grows. It grows with Luke, right? So Luke is like this like naive, like what the hell's going on, thrust into the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then by Empire, he's still like very green, but he's growing, And then by Jedi, he's like, he's still searching, but he's a lot more sure of himself and trying to figure things. And the movies grow with him. I feel like, as opposed to this, I think they wanted to go that way. I just don't know if it doesn't feel that way to me.
Right. What are your thoughts on the rumored series Focusing on Rose and on the casino.
Um, that would be a terrible rumor if that was actually true. That's a show no one would watch. So by show you mean it's like 5 minutes?
Come on, you would still watch it, knowing you and
I would
knowing your
watch
love
up.
for Star Wars.
I would watch the first episode. Yes, I would watch the first episode. I would watch the first episode.
Oh
And
shit!
then I would be like, I can't believe I watched this first episode because this was garbage.
Maybe she would win you over.
Yeah, well, listen, the actor, great. The character, I actually kind of I don't mind. Once again, never minded the character, just the way the character was used. Like, you know, I mean, that's you put her into this film. You introduced a new character, something for somebody for Finn to have a relationship with. Which, okay, great, that's wonderful. But then you give them some like really shitty mission, and like it was like, well, we don't know what to do with them, so we're gonna have them do this, and it's like, I don't know, it was not very well done. And then you don't even continue that relationship on in the next film. Like they're practically like in each other's arms at the end of Last Jedi, and by Rise of Skywalker, you would think they didn't even know each other.
It was hit and quit it.
Oh, my brother, he would watch it all and complain about how bad it is.
True.
Yeah, you're right. Very true.
We did that for several seasons of Walking Dead. So.
Oh, we did. I'm glad we stopped doing that to ourselves.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, I still like Rise of Skywalker. I think it's cool. I like the way, I like the end. You know, I like the way it ended. I like that she buried the two lightsabers. She made her. All that stuff to me was awesome. Like her beating Palpatine and all that, and then hearing all the Jedi and the voices, which, you know, at some point I guess we're gonna see Ahsoka pass away because, you know, Ahsoka's voice is in there. But I thought that was awesome. You know what I did think that I did talk about this. One thing I thought they may bring back in this film that they didn't, but I just thought it was cool because they introduced it in Rebels, was that world between worlds. I thought like that could be a way Palpatine came back somehow, was able to get, you know, access to world between worlds and was able to bring himself back that way. Since they made a point of like that was a thing he was looking to do in Rebels. But they didn't. I thought there was a chance that they could do it. They would do that, but because I just thought it was such a cool thing to introduce, and I was like, oh man, they must be using this somewhere. Then, I mean, they may come back with the season 2 of Rebels.
Could be. Season 2 of Rebels, you're saying?
Yes. I'm sorry, not season 2 of Rebels. The next. Like, so Rebels is done, but they're bringing it back.
Got you. Okay, so similar to Clone Wars.
So I guess Rebels 2.
Got you.
Yeah, they're bringing it back. Okay. Supposed to be out this year.
Okay. As far as a next trilogy, who do you want to see man a next trilogy, and what do you want to see it based on?
Well, definitely feel like going Old Republic is the way to go, because I mean there's so much to explore there, and it has nothing to do with Skywalkers or anything like that, and I think that would be really cool to do and look at, and there's so much great stuff there. So I think that definitely exploring that time, which is like set, you know, thousands of years, I think that would be awesome. Who do I want to helm that? I mean, I guess the double D's are out, right? So they're done.
Yes, right? They are.
They're not doing Star Wars anymore. You know, I think a lot of guys. I mean, we were talking about this. Like, I think Taika Waititi would be awesome. You know, I think he's proving himself to be an awesome director and being able to, you know, between Thor and then also, you know, the work he's done with the Mandalorian. I think he'd be great. I think Jon Favreau's great, but I got a feeling Jon Favreau's going to stay right where he is. But I think he'd be really good as a director of Star Wars films.
Could you see a Dave Filoni doing it?
I could, but I don't think he's going to. I think he's like TV is his.
Yeah.
is his format, and I think he's going to stick there. But I think Dave Filoni would be awesome. He'd be really good. I also think like a director like Patty Jenkins, I think would be great. I think she's awesome. I think she's a really good director. I think she'd be great doing a Star Wars movie, even if and whether it's a trilogy or a one-off thing. Because I don't know if they're gonna, because they're talking about not doing trilogies anymore and doing more like one-off kind of self-contained story things or something like that. So I guess we'll see. Trying to think of there's so many good directors out there right now who I think would be really good. I mean, I think the Duffer Brothers would be cool. Why not, man? I mean, those guys
Sure.
are big fans, and I think I think they would nail whether it's something like that or just a side, a self-contained story. Like, I would love to see those guys do like a bounty hunter movie or something like that. I think they'd be really good at that.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. The streaming service is really going to be a way to leverage more content than we've ever seen. Because I have a feeling that what's the moratorium here? They're not releasing anything in the theaters till 2022 supposedly.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but that doesn't mean that on the that on Disney Plus that we're not going to see other standalone Star Wars
Oh
stories.
no, I actually think what Disney is going to do with the Disney Plus, I think that's where we're going to do like the filling in of like that gap
Yeah.
of like that 30-year gap of things. Or, obviously the Obi-Wan series is
Yeah.
before that, but I think we're going to start seeing more stuff take place in that 30 years before Force Awakens happens. And I would still love if they would even do some cool stuff that happened in between like New Hope and Empire, and
Hmm.
because you've got that, and like even the Empire to Jedi, like there's all these cool like little. It would be great
Oh
if they
yeah.
did a Shadows of the Empire series. That I love that book, which I guess has been jettisoned out because it's was considered not canon. So, and I actually, but Prince Izor is canon now because he was in an episode of I think he was in an episode of Clone Wars when Darth Maul goes to Rising Sun or something like that. So I think Prince Izor is canon now, but I don't think Shadows of the Empire is.
Well, we'll see because I mean,
Anybody out there know that? Or the answer to that one? To all three people that are watching us.
well, Filoni has been able to bring some of these people in. How many times have we talked about blue guy in Rebels, Thawne?
Yeah, Admiral Thrawn. Yeah,
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 Thrawn.
total. And he's a great character. I'm so glad that they had enough sense to bring him in because he's great. I mean, not using that character, what a waste that would have been. And the Rebels 2, I'm gonna call it Rebels 2.
Hmm.
We're supposed to get the Ezra Thrawn. The rumor is they actually are forced to work together and out of survival and all that. So that'll be awesome to see. Like wherever they're on the wherever the outer rim or unexplored regions or whatever you want to call it.
Which is kind of what happened in Rebels already
Yeah.
between Jeb and who was the double agent. Um,
Oh yeah. I forgot everybody's names on that show.
yeah. Wasn't
That's,
Hux.
that seems like 1,000 years ago. Yeah, and Hux did the same thing.
Yeah, Hux did the same thing, and I was like, "No way! It's gonna be the same exact thing as Rebels." And nope, gets blown away.
He did get blown away. That was kind of weird, right? I mean, you built that guy up, and then all of a sudden he's just
Yeah,
gone.
it was a quick way of
Uh,
kind of just killing him off.
yeah, it was like okay, like I don't know, you built them up to be like this, like here we go, Star Wars Rebels. What is this guy's name? Full cast and crew.
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm looking up to.
Agent Callus.
Agent Callus. There you go.
Agent Callus. Yes.
Yeah, so him and Jeb had to work together. So it's kind of like what we were expecting out of Negan and Rick. But before we could get to that, they decided to take a fork in the road from the comics.
Yeah.
So
Good old Walking Dead.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean that's where I would like to see things going now. Is to bring in some cool new directors like that. Oh, and they're not just new directors, but I think them getting to
right.
create Star Wars content would be awesome. I mean, and there's so many other great directors out there who I think would all be good. I just can't think of all their names are all escaping me now, but like even the guy that directs like John Wick, like
Hmm.
I think he would be awesome. I mean, he's very action oriented, but that's okay because you could have a very action oriented like Star Wars movie like
Right.
that's especially like like a bounty hunter type thing or which I think would be kind of cool, right? If you had a bounty hunter thing that was sort of set in that same like
Hmm.
world in the sense of like the code and you're sort of doing it with the Mandalorian now, I guess, but
Hmm.
like something that's a little even more like supercharged.
I could even see them doing something like The Mandalorian, but with someone like Ahsoka or someone who maybe was a Jedi. Like maybe they could build up a story where there's someone that Order 66 didn't get to them, so they somehow escape the clutches of the Empire, and they're out on like the outer
Well,
rim planets or
yes, and
whatever.
there were Jedi that did escape and went way
So
out there. That they were like they went way out to the outer rim and just like I'm out of here,
yeah,
and that would be really cool to sort of explore. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it'd be really neat because that would be like you would just be so far removed from like anything
yeah,
in the regular normal Star Wars universe. Like the outer rims, like it's just unexplored. So
yeah,
there's all that new stuff and someone who's like a Jedi sort of I don't know if they're using their powers or kind of hiding them because they're still like
right,
and they left so they don't even know the order like that even all the stuff that had happened, which would be kind
right,
of interesting too.
right,
Like it's all
absolutely.
this time in the future and like they don't even know the Empire fell. Yeah, he would be good for a bounty hunter film with a lot of good shootouts. Agreed. I mean that guy's great. He directs all those John Wick movies.
I agree.
Josh Parr is watching.
Uh
Uh-oh. You missed all the talk about the Expanse, Josh Parr.
oh. Yep. Yes, he did. That's because he was reading up on the latest Dune rumors.
Well, that I am looking forward to that Dune film because I loved the last Blade Runner movie. Dennis Villeneuve or whatever, Dennis Villeneuve. He's great though. I loved that Blade Runner movie. I thought that was excellent.
Can they
I
bring
think
back Malcolm McDowell and or not Malcolm McDowell?
Kyle MacLachlan
Kyle McLaughlin. Yeah, my bad.
as Paul Atreides.
Yeah, can they bring back Sting as well?
See here, and here's where oh here we go. Dune 2020. So this is supposed to be out this year.
Yeah,
Expected. It's in post production. Expected date December 18th, 2020. That's definitely getting moved. I can't see that,
and
especially if it's in post production and they're shutting things down.
mhm.
I mean, not that you can't still edit the movie. I mean, we're still editing, but like, oh, it's pretty good. Dave Bautista's in this.
Oh, if it's the same guy from Blade Runner, yeah, he used them in Blade Runner.
Yeah, he did. Zendaya's in this. Jason Momoa's in this.
Oh,
Oscar Isaac. Oh, he's playing Leto Atreides. Josh Brolin. Stellan Skarsgård. Javier Bardem. Wow, look at this cast.
yeah. So they essentially hired anyone who wasn't tied up, who was in Endgame or the last few Avengers movies,
Yeah.
and brought him over to Dune.
Rebecca Ferguson. Oh, Mission Impossible. Oh, Doctor Sleep. Okay, all right. Now I'm like, man, I can't.
By the way,
Okay.
the director for John Wick is also the director for the last Deadpool movie.
Oh, all right. Deadpool 2.
Yeah, so that'll work.
Yeah, that'll work. Oh, Brad Dourif was in the he was in the original movie. Wow. Cool. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be cool. It shouldn't be the future of Star Wars anymore. I can change it to the future. There we go.
The future of Dune.
I could do this.
Does Dune have a future?
That's the topic at hand today. Well, yes, it does because it's coming out in, well, it said December 18th, 2020, but we'll see. I got a feeling that's getting pushed. That'll be a good February movie next year. Or January.
Will it be?
I mean, Christmas time's a great time for it to come out, but I mean, I just can't. If they are facing delays, I can't see it coming out.
If everything else is getting pushed back, I would imagine that would too.
Yeah. So I mean, I could see that then being like maybe late winter, early spring. Then maybe I'll push it back around that time. Make that like the first big film to come out for this to kick off the season type of a thing. Although, it's not like his films are, like Blade Runner. I really, really love that movie. I thought it was really well done, really great. But like, nobody went to go see it. It didn't light the theaters up. It was like a flop,
Right.
which sucks because people missed out on a really great. I think everybody got scared of the runtime, but then they didn't get scared of the runtime with Endgame. But that's Endgame, so it's different.
It's a different audience, yeah. Also, you have to figure Blade Runner was always kind of a cult film.
Right, and it came out in the 80s, and that was it. So, like, who remembers Blade Runner except for, like, nerds like us?
Yeah. So, it's kind of different. So, I agree.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, look at this. We're about, it's about 7:47. So, I think we've done a pretty bang-up job here of testing out, doing the live stream here in Galaxy Geeks group. So I think that we'll definitely be doing this some more.
Sure.
And we'll
some spiffy banners.
Yeah, look at these spiffy banners. We'll have to keep playing around with this. Yeah, send us your questions. Spiffy banners. So yeah. I'd say this was a successful test. So this is a good first time around. So as far as I know, these videos will stay posted. So if you missed it, we'll have it up on the YouTube channel. So if you aren't following us on YouTube, please subscribe there, because as we do more podcasts and things like this, we will put them up there. We're going to cut this up. We'll make audio files, so it will be also as the podcast. You'll be able to listen to it on our normal podcast channels, which is Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, the whole shebang. I'll put up the banner again.
My only podcast that's still on Spotify. Everything else got taken down.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Subscribe, YouTube, app. What? Oh, this is the only podcast that hasn't been taken down of yours. Oh, because of the music stuff.
Yep.
Boy, that sucks.
Yeah. Well, is what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, follow us on all these places. You'll see it on the bottom here.
Follow us.
YouTube.
YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Also follow us on Facebook. Most of you already are.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Mm-hmm. Got all those great links up on the galaxyofgeeks.net. So if you're unfamiliar with what they are, just go there, and you can also listen to the episodes there as well. If for whatever reason your place of business There you go. galaxyofgeeks.net. If your place of business does not allow you to use any of these streaming services that we talked about, you can listen to it directly from galaxyofgeeks.net.
Yep,
So,
there you go. You can get us there. Yeah, so that's about it, everybody. So thank you guys for watching. We're going to keep doing this. We'll do this more. We'll provide a distraction for everybody during this time. We had a good time doing this. This was also a good distraction for us. So thank you guys. We really appreciate everybody who watched us tonight and joined in, sent us stuff, interacted. So and I'll let Victor do the sign off because he always does this. He always does the sign off on the audio podcast.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Either one of us could do it.
Yeah, but I like when you do it.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll do it.
I like the way you do it.
Okay. Thanks again for listening to the Galaxy of Geeks podcast.
See ya.
See ya. Oh, yeah, I forgot to see you. See, I haven't fucking done this in so long. Thanks for listening to the Galaxy of Geeks podcast. See ya. There you go.
There you go. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Cheers.